Hello, everybody. Michael Gurian here. I'm so honored to be asked by Crespi Carmelite High School in Encino, California, a Gurian Institute Model School. I'm very honored to be asked to do this short video for everyone on some brain facts and then some strategies that grow from those brain facts. So the male and the female brain in utero are set up differently. That happens because of the X and the Y chromosomes. And some of the differences as males and females come out and are growing up. One, females tend to use both sides of the brain for words and have word centers on both sides of the brain. So females are connecting words to feelings, words to senses, words to memories. All of that's in the midbrain. They're doing that on both sides of the brain. Males, however, we tend to do our words on the left. And we have more spatial mechanical and visual graphic centers on the right that are more active. So we're only doing this on the left. We're connecting words to feelings, words to senses, words to memories on one side of the brain, and store that away because that makes a big difference later in life. A second brain fact that's very interesting is that females tend to use more white matter activity. So girls and women are using more white matter activity, which sends signals throughout the brain. White matter is in the myelin, and it's everywhere in the brains. They're constantly sending signals throughout the brain. Males use up to 7 times more gray matter activity. Gray matter happens in splotches in the brain. And so store that away. And then a third interesting brain fact is that by nature, as the male and the female brain are set up, the female brain spends more time in the frontal lobe, and that's where executive decision-making, impulse control, self-regulation, and many other things like that occur. Males spend more of their time further back, less time in the frontal, and females have more connectors, more connectivity between the emotions going on in the midbrain and the frontal. Males have less, so store that away. What might we learn from that? Well, you've got when you've probably noticed, you as a citizen scientist who has kids, who sees kids, you've probably noticed that girls and women use more words for feelings than boys and men. And of course, we're talking in aggregates because there are some boys who, will talk all the time about what they're feeling. But if you pick an age, and Crespi's age is 14 to 18, so let's pick high school age. If you pick that age and you listen really carefully, you're going to see that girls at that age are using more words for feelings and spending more time trying to figure feelings out and emotions out and facial cues and social cues and these things, and boys are spending less. It's not a flaw in the boys or in the girls, it's just that the brain is set up that way, and that's something we should expect. And a strategy that grows from that, from knowing that, is if we want to talk to a boy about what he's feeling or an experience he has had that we want him to talk to us about at a sort of feeling level, we often need to give him more time than we've realized. We need to give him 6 hours or 12 hours or even 24 hours to try to process and then to try to create words for what he felt. And if you think about those brain facts I gave you, it's going to make sense. He's only doing words and connecting words to feelings on one side of his brain, not both. And he has more gray matter activity, right? And she's zinging around. All sorts of connections are happening in her, and she then can instantaneously talk about them. Whereas he's going to have to get his brain to flow in areas further back that he'll have to get focused on to try to connect the words to feelings and figure out what he felt. And then if you think about the frontal is where a lot of words and that thinking goes on anyway, and males spend less of their time in the frontal, females spend more time. So he's going to need more time to try to get the feeling life to connect to the frontal. So if we give him 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, you all know your son, what works for him, it can get better. The whole thing can get better. And Let me add another interesting thing on there strategically. Males are more cerebellum dependent than females. We do more of our blood flow is in the cerebellum, which is down here at the base of the brain. And it's a doing center, doing stuff, action stuff, and moving around. And one of the reasons that schools like Crespi have the boys moving around a lot is because they've seen these brain scans. They know this. And so, you know, not want the guy sitting there for 30 minutes doing nothing. His brain's going to go to sleep. Cerebellum wants to be active, and then that activates the rest of the brain. Well, that's true for you at home. When you're working with boys, you know that, and you think, okay, so if I want to help their brains get activated to talk to me about what he's feeling, for instance, another good strategy is to move around with him. So have him play a game of basketball or something, or run, or whatever it is, with you before you're talking about what you want to talk about. So that really activates him up. Or while you're doing something with him, taking a walk, and you're shoulder to shoulder, you know, and then maybe it comes up and maybe some stuff comes out of him, and he can talk about it because he's moving. So you can see strategies that grow from understanding the male and the female brain, understanding that he's connecting less quickly in terms of his emotions than she might be, that we got to give it some time to get to the frontal, which is where some of the thinking about it all can happen and where the word centers are. And then we double down on good strategies by maybe moving around with him rather than come sit at the table. I want to talk to you about what you're feeling, right? We practice these other strategies. So thank you so much for having me. I hope this little tidbit helps, and I hope to see you soon. Go to GurianInstitute.com, by the way, if you want more of this kind of thing. Take care.